What's up, beautiful souls? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mamina. You can call me Mina for short. This is a sacred union collective reading. Please only take what resonates to and for you. You are always responsible for your actions and reactions to these spiritual messages. With all of that out of the way, we're going through a major timeline shift. If you follow Light Wisdom Podcast, you're used to this kind of vibe, kind of talk. In the next episode or two to finish off, because I'm close to finishing off the first season, I'll cover more about this. But some of you can feel it. Most of you who come across my work, you already have an idea of what this is. There's been a lot of false timelines, a lot of shifts and etc. But now we're getting a major one that's really here to just purify, cleanse, make way for abundance. So you're going to notice, of course, that means a lot of things crumbling to get to that point. Masculine energy is going through this to the 10th power, but feminists, you ain't safe per se. If you are resisting change, and I mean this in the sense that you can't see the positives in the change around you, or you're purposely just resisting something, you just want to stay in a certain way, a certain mindset, whatever the case may be, you will find that it's like you're living a Groundhog's Day until you learn whatever lesson is necessary, and that lesson will come with change. So to avoid change is to pretty much act like you don't get the lesson or refuse to see it, to which point the divine is like, all right, it's going to be June 9th, June 13th, June 15th, whatever day it got to be, over and over again until you figure it out. Masculines, however, are feeling this to the point where they really probably think they're in like the Groundhog's movie. It's like they wake up, boom, something just happens, and it's like the same series of events, and they see the same synchronicities. It's at the point where they can no longer lie to themselves and be indecisive. They can no longer act like they don't notice the gist of what's going on. Even if they can't understand it yet in words or terms spiritually, they know they feel and see something. They know that there's a certain pattern in their behavior, and it's bringing about a certain chain of events. And they can no longer just brush that off as, oh, I'm just being me. And nah, we're done with that. And I want to make this clear, and I've said this in my lives for those of you who caught them. It's not just the divine by itself. Keep in mind that you're a part of that energy, but it's not just that itself that sets these things in motion. It's your own higher self. Your higher self knows you. It's existing outside of the understanding of time, the way that you understand it anyway. So it's able to experience every lifetime, every timeline, everything you ever have done or will do. It's been there, done that. And it's at the point where this is such a crucial time. Our higher selves are not tolerating us being basic anymore. Just not. So some of these tower moments, and for those of you who know the tarot, you get what I mean. They're happening because our own higher self knows what's necessary to light a fire up under our butt. And for masculines, ciao. So don't be shocked if you're checking in on your divine masculines and you just see them going through a whole lot of mess that they can't explain. They have to go through it though. It's a part of their karmic cycle. It's a part of them waking up. Karmic cycles that are coming to an end aren't just karmic lovers. It's karmic family, karmic situations, even karmic locations, meaning people that are refusing to move for whatever reason. They can, but they're refusing to, whether that's mentally moving past something or mentally and physically moving past something. All of this is going through a major shift right now, and you're going to see it not only reflected in the energies by feeling it, but you're also going to witness it. So feminists, you're not completely spared from it, but masculines have been resisting this energy the hardest. Now for divine feminines, I'm picking up a lot of y'all are working on yourself and putting more effort, not only into how you understand or process what's going on, not only within your union, but a lot of you are realizing, again, self-love is key. I know y'all get tired of hearing that, mostly because a lot of people don't know what it means to really experience or to act upon self-love. They just don't. They think it's a bunch of other material crap. But it's important right now for divine feminists to recognize who they are, recognize their power, recognize their growth, not only by acknowledging it, by mastering it as a skill. Meaning you look at the things you're capable of mentally, physically, and spiritually, and you say, how can I learn more about it? And in learning more about it, you learn more about yourself. And in doing that, you also learn more about your union, because you have I want you guys to remember the divine feminine energy is the creation energy, is the creator energy, is the womb space. So it opens the door. It's the light at the end of the tunnel that leads the masculine energy out. You'll find that that's why sometimes divine feminines seem to be more curious about these type of things. It's not that masculines aren't researching it, looking up and etc., but you'll see feminine energies drawn to it more. Masculine energy tends to be more resistant or more secretive, unless they're tapping into their own inner feminine. Once they do that, then it's like, okay, now I feel I can express this more and etc. But again, I don't want to take too long on that. I'm just giving you guys what's channeling in right now for these energies, and then we're going to see what comes out and reflects in the cards and dive deeper after that. But a lot of healing is taking place. A lot of things are coming. You know, 5s and 10s are very crucial at this time. We know that 5s tend to represent the challenges, conflicts, and necessary growth. We know that 10s represent the completion of whatever those challenges and necessary growth spurts are. So be mindful right now of how you're viewing the challenges that you're experiencing, not only in your connections, but in life. And a part of self-love is realizing that even when you feel drawn to check in on your connection, the key is to not be obsessed with it. The key is to not sit around wondering what your feminine or masculine is doing all day, every day, regardless of what sex you are, as far as like what you identify as, because that's a whole other thing. But as far as the energies are concerned, at this point, tapping into self-love, learning from mistakes, and letting things change, letting old cycles die is crucial right now. And you're going to constantly see it, not only within the numeral setting, but just with the fact that you'll feel it. You know, a lot of people are already feeling like days are either moving faster or slower. It's all a part of that timeline shift. I just saw temperance flash before my eyes. It's all a part of things coming into proper balance. Temperance is also about manifestation, turning water into wine, purifying waters. It's all about cleansing one's space for healing and doing it with grace. This is happening on both sides. I just feel like feminines are putting more effort into it than masculines are at this time. Masculines are too busy going through their towers. So again, don't be shocked if you see your partner going through like a lot of ish. So let's get the first card out for the masculine energy. We have 10 of Swords. Like I said, painful endings of cycles. 10 coming out. You know, they're realizing they can't play the stuck game anymore. You know, at one point, yes, you guys have masculines that felt like they were stuck. Like, okay, I have to do this because I'm obligated to. I have to take care of this person because I'm obligated to. I can't move from this place because, you know, you get where I'm going with it. And now it's like, all right, their higher self is like, you thought you were stuck. Now I'm going to show you stuck. Until you learn this lesson, you're going to keep experiencing the same chain of events over. There's no running from it. There's no making an excuse. There's no running to the divine feminine to get her to protect you or keep you safe. This is also happening to masculines who have not yet met their divine counterpart yet. They can feel you though. They can sense you. They can feel you. They can almost taste you. It's like if you appeared before them tomorrow, they go, oh, it's that one. Because they're feeling the pull and they can't resist it anymore. It's like if they're in a karmic relationship or a toxic thing that they've been putting up with. Because some relationships are karmic in the sense they're toxic. Others are, they're meant to help them grow. And a lot of times those are relationships they could come out of without a lot of animosity and hate. It's like when people realize, oh, we want different things in life, and they're able to leave on good terms. It doesn't always have to be this dramatic, painful thing. But for those who've been resisting, they've been putting up a fight, they've been trying to stay where they don't belong, they've been trying to do things they're not supposed to be doing. It's starting to hurt. It's starting to become painful. And then in comes your energy. And your energy is that light. A light that sometimes they don't feel worthy of, but they can't help but to feel drawn to. And it's getting to the point where it's driving them insane. Like they can't take it anymore. It's not working out. But some of them have been too busy focusing on what they're afraid will go wrong. The betrayals that they could make, you know, things that were done to them in the past by this one and that one. All of that has to be let go of. All of that has to end. Old ways of thinking. I always say your cycle, honestly, of life constantly resets itself around the 5 and the 10 year span. So when you look at who you were 5 years ago and who you were 10 years ago, you see these dramatic differences. I'm going to cover this more in a light wisdom episode, but you get the flow of what I'm saying. If you pay attention to the pattern, you realize even if you like similar things, your personality or how you like it or how you express it, that's what changes. It's not always about your passions having to change. It's the way you express them. It's the way you go about them. And that evolution is important. And there's been a lot of people just choosing to not allow themselves to either one, recognize their growth and change, least of all accept it or partake in it. And that's put them in situations where, yeah, you get hurt more than usual. You go through unnecessary complications because, yes, believe it or not, there are things that humans can do that at times are unnecessary. You know what I mean? But you're going through them because you won't let go. And that's the lesson. Once you learn the lesson and you let go, then you're like, oh. So those cycles they were clinging to are ending, but for many of them, it's painful endings because they're letting go of things they've become too attached to. Detachment is key here in order to properly learn how to really connect, how to really experience a connection. Let's see what's going on with the feminine energy. Let's see what's going on with the feminine energies. We have the moon. I'm only taking one card, Spirit. We got a lot to cover. We have the moon. High Priestess also flipped over. So this is going into what I was saying about divine feminines also needing to see their own self-worth and self-love. And again, when you tap into that, you help your masculine and vice versa. You guys are the infinity band. What one does, the other experiences in a different, unique way that helps you both learn how to not only appreciate each other's stance in the connection, but it helps you grow. I'm also, once again, dreams. The moon always comes out with the energy of dreams. But I'm going to explain this in the podcast. There's different types of dream states, and you can have dream states even when you're awake. Sometimes when you space out, you know, when you're driving and you space out, or you're like sitting there about to look up something online and your mind just seems to go somewhere else. All of that is a dream state. And if you pay attention and you know what you're trying to sense or what you're looking for, you're able to realize what the message is. That your mind's not just wandering for wandering's sake. It's actually going somewhere. It's actually experiencing something. And it's a very spiritual thing. It's a very multidimensional thing. The illusions you've been believing about yourself, you've been believing about your connections, and for those of you who are also in false connections, all of that is shattering. All of that's cleansing out. All of that's coming to an end. And I'm really hearing like shatter the mirror on false illusion of self in order for true balance to come in. Remember, temperance showed up earlier as well. That what you put out is what you get type of energy. So if you allow for yourself to create a proper reflection of who you are, meaning you allow yourself to see your power, your grace, your allure, your overall blessing, that you yourself are a blessing, that you are a work of art. And when you really feel that way, you don't feel the need to make anybody else feel lesser than you. You simply accept your crown. And as you do that, you evolve. And whatever tries to come into your life has no choice but to be on the correct path. Otherwise, you're going to move it along and keep it pressing. And this goes for your counterpart. That's why your counterparts, other cycles and toxic ways have to end, because they can't come into your world when you're really standing in your grace. They just can't, right? But they can't avoid your light. Bottom of the deck card before I even shuffle again is the star card. They can't avoid your light. They can't avoid the fact that they're wishing for you and that you're leading them home. And again, I'm seeing divine feminines really put in the effort that's necessary to do all of this. It's like you're mastering skills of self and of connections and all kinds of things. It's like you're mastering the skills of all of that. Ooh. We have justice. We're going to take this as a message for both parties here. Soul contracts, remember what I just said about balancing. The balancing is because what you put out is what you get in. That's totally what the justice card is about. Accepting the different roles that karma plays in our life, because it's not all bad, just like it's not all good, right? But from each role that it plays, we learn something. I'm also hearing those of you that felt like, whether it was in your personal life, with you as an individual, or within your personal sacred relationships and connections with different people from family, let alone your lover, All of the things that felt off, all of the things that felt wrong are going to come into balance as the illusions break, as old karmic cycles break. All of that works itself out. You have to let the divine and your higher self show you. You have to allow yourself to be open to receive that new way of life. Remember, allow for there to be change. There's also power in the numbers here yet again. We already explained the 10 and the 5, but the 1 and 8 is standing out to me, which is the 9. So 9 could be very important for a lot of you. 9 can represent independence. For a lot of you, especially divine feminines, standing in and being independent and standing in your own, essence of who you are. The 11, of course, twin flame connections. We are talking about sacred unions, right? But also that 1 and 1 forms a 2. Once again, taking us back around to balance. What we put out is what we get. Balancing all of our talents, balancing all of who we are, the higher self, the hidden self, and the current incarnation of what you are. So there's a lot of past life cleansing that's also coming in for a lot of you here. Past life in 2 ways. For some of you, it really is like over lifetimes. But for many of you, again, every 5 to 10 years is like living a new timeline, living a new life based on how far you've grown. If there's anything you've been clinging to for the last 5 years or 10 years, it's time to let it go so that you can move forward. Think of that timeline as like spring cleaning. Like when you look at stuff you can no longer fit, or you just be like, no, I'm not wearing this, I don't need it, and you give it away or you get rid of it or whatever the case may be. Think of it like that. You can't destroy energy, but you can purify it. And so this is a purification of self. I actually take the Justice card to be similar to Temperance in that way, because whatever's being fixed, whatever's being put back in order, something had to go, something had to be cleansed, something had to be changed, right? And when that process happens, sometimes people are too focused on the trauma, because you'll take it as trauma sometimes, and instead of going, wait, but that's a healing process. I was able to let go of something that was no longer serving my highest purpose, and in doing so I healed from it. For any of you that were going through, and this is just channeling in, for anybody that was going through any type of legal issue, like maybe you or your person, masculine or feminine, was married to a karmic, or some type of family tie, children could be involved in this, again, justice will be served. Justice will be served. But you got to stand in your truth, just like they got to learn to stand in their truth. Truth is very important here. That's why it's important to break the illusions of self, to get out of this stuck toxic feeling. All right, so justice is here for both sides. Star card reveals itself. Again, I'm going to sit that there. Whew, I'm starting to get like a stuffy nose. What else do we need to know? Divine, what else do we need to know? What was I just talking about? The divine said no more indecision. No more indecision. No more procrastinating when it's time to choose, when it's time to make a move. No more of that. At this point, I want you to notice her sword is open. Normally, the swords are crossed over the heart. These swords are open, and she's not holding them in a way that she can really swing them at you properly. This is like the heart space being opened to allow for love to come in and for love to go out. We manifest everything from our heart. Breath work is also important for that very reason. So a lot of you are finding that a part of standing in your power, a part of really and fully being what you need to be in your connection, involves you opening your heart space and not being indecisive, making the choice to do so. That leads back to the fact that the 11 brought in the energy of 2 anyway, coming into balance. Hopefully all of that makes sense. The energies are going kind of quick, and they're making my nose like one side of my nose is like burning for some reason. Energetically, like somebody could have sinus issues. Somebody could have been crying about something. It's almost like I feel like I'm gonna get a nasal drip. I feel like that's like it means something for somebody. Yeah, look at that. Toxic waves being released, cutting the chains that bind. Also, again, any of you that were in connections that really weren't divine, maybe you were trying to force them to be, and your partner, you, whomever, whatever, you could be cross-watching. That too is being cleansed out and let go of and changed. Let's get into the bottom of the deck. Look at that. Bottom of the deck, we have the 8 of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, and the Page of Wands is where I'm feeling like we should stop. The Hierophant is under the Page of Wands, which is, by the way, a 5. Thank you very much. Okay, these spiritual connections are coming in to union here. Divine feminines, like I was saying, masculines are doing this in their own way, but divine feminines are really making an effort for self-love, for understanding. And all of this is helping you manifest as well. You're putting in the work that's necessary. Do your own version of breaking the chains that bind. And what happens for both of you? It opens the road to that 10 of Pentacles, right? To that stability that you're searching for, because that 9 energy and that 10 energy in that way, it feels like stability. It feels like feeling grounded and centered, right? And I feel like most of you are going to get a message from your masculines. Again, they have this energy of not being able to run anymore, not being able to deny the pull. Some of them may, especially if you used to be in union with them, some of them may want to pull that trigger quicker than what should be allowed. So it's cool to start communicating again. It's cool to start seeing where things may go. But as far as jumping into the relationship aspect so fast, allow them to show you they're ready for that, and do the same. Give them the same courtesy. Show them that you're ready for that. And this is whether they're coming in as a new partner or whether you guys again are reuniting with somebody. There's like a 6 of Cups energy here. So reunion's also implied in that somewhere. Let's tap a little bit more, and then we're going to call it. I really didn't plan on like using an oracle for this reading. Yep. Cleanup time. Look at that. Cutting karmic ties, cutting illusions, letting justice serve, realizing the energy you put out is what you get back, no longer being indecisive, making the right decisions and choices. Divine feminine is like a star for the masculine. You're the light that leads them home, out of bondage, out of karmic addictions and obsessions. And this is also for divine feminines too. If you've been doing the same thing, you're putting in the effort. It's leading you to that 10 of Pentacles. Messages are coming in soon, and I do feel like it's going to be, it's not saying that it's just masculines making it. So masculines watching, your feminine could be calling you. But again, with that Page of Wands energy, I feel like it's going to be this, I need you now. I got to be with you now. Now. Some of y'all gonna have to use your intuition and discernment and slow that down for a second. It's cool to talk, but allow for there to be this time, this stretch of time, and let it flow the way it's meant to, however long it's meant to be. You don't have to try to think of an exact number, where you can both show each other how far you've come in your growth. And this is whether they're a new lover coming in or whether they're an old lover. You'll know what to do when the time is right. Trust and believe and understand that. Okay, I don't want to take too many cards. We have what's the tea. I feel like there's masculine spying on divine feminines, because again, they want to make that move. And so they're like, yo, what's so-and-so doing? Remember what I said? Like they're trying to shoot off like a trigger. What's so doing? What's happening with them? Again, be mindful of acting too quick, because some of them are going through these tower moments, and even though they're feeling that pull, they have to learn their lessons, and you don't want them trying to fall on you or be dependent on you and forget to learn the lesson in the first place, starting this whole negative process again. No. Don't participate in the Groundhog Day with them. You don't have to. They have to put in the work. They have to show their own growth. So don't trust every little thing they say from the back, like, oh, I've changed. I'm a better man. I'm a better girl. I'm a better whatever. Let them show you. Okay? Let it be shown. Yep, because they have to be vulnerable. And when the time's right, you have to be vulnerable with self first. But they're going to also have to be vulnerable with you when it comes time to reveal the truth to you, and vice versa. And at the end, the bottom of the deck, we have manifesting you. Just like you are manifesting them. And my loves, I tried to get through that quicker than usual. That was your reading for this timeline switch for those of you coming into Sacred Unions. If you have any questions that aren't personal reading related, you can leave them in the description. If you want to know something more so about your personal situation, you have to book a reading for that. Peace, love, and light, beautiful souls.